chosen one. The fact that you have paused to listen in this moment does not need to be explained by a mysterious sign or an arrangement that should make you afraid. Amid the countless sounds, streams of information, and demands competing for your attention each day, perhaps your heart is simply longing for a silence deep enough to remember what truly matters. I meet you right there, not to force you to believe in a grand promise, nor to frighten you into thinking that you will lose something if you do not act immediately. I come as a patient father, reminding you that whenever you sincerely return to love, peace, and responsibility, a beautiful new beginning can take shape. There are times in life that seem to carry more meaning than ordinary days. Not because any number possesses special power, but because you have become ready to look at yourself through different eyes. 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months can all become precious periods if you use them to pause, organize your thoughts, and choose a healthier path. I do not confine my love within a brief window of time, nor do I close a door before you simply because you were delayed, missed an opportunity, or did not yet understand what needed to be done. True love does not pressure, threaten, or drive you into panic. Love gives you the discernment to accept responsibility, the courage to change, and the patience to take one steady step at a time. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector and executor of my will, is an image that reminds you of courage during seasons of transition. Michael does not stand there to plant fear in your heart concerning unseen forces, nor does he speak in my place words that make you anxious. His presence simply reminds you that you can protect the good things being formed within you. Protect your peace from chaotic thoughts. Protect your dignity from relationships that cause you to diminish yourself. And protect your hope from the voice that continually tells you that you cannot change. Yet I remain the one speaking directly to you, gently leading you away from haste and back toward a more honest way of living. I know that sometimes you feel you should have reached a better place in life by now. You look back upon the years that have passed and wonder why you have still not achieved what you once hoped for. You sense that there is so much ability, so much love, and so much goodness within you that has not yet been fully expressed. That feeling can be painful, especially when you watch others move forward in areas where you are still struggling. But do not be quick to interpret your present incompleteness as proof that you have failed. Sometimes it is simply an invitation to live more honestly with the things you already know must change. Perhaps you have delayed an important conversation because you fear disappointing someone. Perhaps you know that a habit is taking away your health and peace, yet you have not been persistent enough to release it. Perhaps you have remained too long in an environment that exhausts you simply because you do not want to begin again. Or perhaps you are still carrying shame over old decisions and using them to conclude that you are no longer worthy of a better future. I do not say these things to condemn you. I want you to look at them with compassion and honesty. What needs to change can only begin to heal when you are courageous enough to call it by its true name. Do not regard the desire to live better as a warning that you are about to be punished. See it instead as a sign that you no longer want to continue living beneath limitations built by fear, insecurity, and old habits. Those limitations do not always come from other people. Sometimes you have become accustomed to telling yourself that you are not good enough, not ready enough, or that it is already too late to begin. You have repeated those sentences for so long that they sound like truth. But a thought does not necessarily become true merely because it has been repeated many times. You can learn to speak to yourself with greater kindness, realism, and hope. I do not want you to awaken every day feeling that you must race to prove your worth. You were not created to live in constant tension, always worried that you are falling behind others or about to miss your final opportunity. You can move forward without panic. You can take your responsibilities seriously while still preserving your peace. You can set goals without turning those goals into a whip with which to punish yourself. Lasting change rarely begins with grand declarations. It begins when you do one small but sincere thing and continue repeating it, even after the initial emotion has faded. If you desire to spend the next few days realigning your life, begin by listening. Observe what is making your heart heavy. Do not rush to blame others, but do not take upon yourself responsibilities that do not belong to you. Honestly recognize what you are able to change and what you need to learn to accept. There are circumstances you cannot control, but you can decide how you will respond. You can choose to speak kindly instead of reacting in anger. You can refuse to participate in an argument that produces nothing good. You can apologize if you have hurt someone. You can also establish boundaries when someone repeatedly disregards your dignity. After listening, begin to put in order what has been neglected. Perhaps your room needs to be cleaned. Your work schedule needs to be adjusted, an expense needs to be reviewed, or a promise needs to be fulfilled. These ordinary tasks are no less sacred. A good life is built not only through deeply emotional moments, but also through the way you care for small responsibilities each day. When you complete what you are able to do in the present, you create space for clarity to enter. Outward order will not solve every problem, but it can quiet some of the chaos in your mind and help you see the next step more clearly. Then make room for gratitude. Gratitude does not mean denying what is still missing or pretending that you have never suffered. Gratitude is the ability to see the goodness that remains present within an imperfect life, a sufficient meal, someone willing to listen, an opportunity to correct a mistake, or a morning in which you can begin again. None of these things are small. When you appreciate what you already have, greed and comparison lose some of their power. You no longer need to possess everything before allowing yourself to feel at peace. I also invite you to look again at the dreams that have been lying dormant. Some dreams need to be awakened, while others must be courageously released because they were born from the desire to please other people. Not everything you once longed for is still suitable for the person you are today. Ask yourself whether what you are pursuing helps you become more loving, honest, and responsible. Does it allow you to use your abilities to create value, or does it merely exhaust you because you are seeking recognition? A good direction is not necessarily an easy road, but it will not require you to continually betray your deepest values. You may feel that there is a greater ability within you than what is currently being expressed. That does not mean you are certainly destined for fame, wealth, or a position that causes others to admire you. Your greatest potential may be revealed through the way you love your family, build an honest career, serve your community, raise your children, or remain present when someone is suffering. Do not allow glamorous images to make you despise simple contributions. A meaningful life is not measured only by how widely you are known, but by the goodness that remains in the hearts of others. after you have passed through their lives. I do not promise that every difficulty will be resolved after only a few days. Some changes require much time, repeated attempts, and support from people with appropriate expertise. If you are struggling with your health, emotions, finances, or relationships, do not merely wait for a sign. Seek suitable help, ask for trustworthy advice, and take practical steps. Seeking support is not a lack of faith. It may be one of the most mature expressions of faith, because you acknowledge that you were not created to carry everything alone. Do not allow any message to convince you that everything depends upon a single moment. Your life is not determined by one day when you acted correctly or one day when you made a mistake. Every morning can open another opportunity for adjustment. If today you were unable to do what you intended, do not use that small failure as a reason to abandon the entire journey. Examine what caused it, change your approach, and begin again. Perseverance does not mean never making mistakes. It means refusing to let mistakes become the reason you stop learning. What I am placing into your hands is not a secret reserved for a special group of people, but the ability to choose what is good within your own circumstances. You are invited to live with awareness, but not in order to separate yourself from others or believe that you are above them. True awakening makes you more humble, more compassionate, and more willing to serve. If a belief causes you to see yourself as superior, despise those who do not understand, or become detached from reality, you must pause and examine it. What comes from love will not nourish pride. It will help you recognize that every person is walking a journey and deserves to be treated with respect. My beloved child, perhaps what you call a signal is actually the voice of your conscience, reminding you not to continue postponing an authentic life. Listen to that voice without fear. Begin with what is most obvious. Forgive the person you are still holding in your heart. Offer the apology you have delayed. Stop a behavior that harms you, or return to a responsibility you have been avoiding. Forgiveness does not mean denying wrongdoing. It means no longer allowing the past to control your attitude today. And when you forgive yourself, you do not escape the consequences. You accept responsibility without using your mistake to condemn yourself forever. Be courageous enough to change, but do not change because you hate the former version of yourself. The person who was once afraid, who delayed, and who made wrong choices was also trying to survive with the limited understanding available at that time. Have compassion for that person and then teach them a new way to live. Release the negativity that no longer serves your growth, but carry forward the lessons that have made you wiser. Leave bitterness behind without losing your sensitivity. Establish boundaries without allowing your heart to turn to stone. I want you to move forward with steady feet, not to run in fear that you will be too late. Peace is not waiting at the end of a race. Peace begins when you stop fighting against your own worth. Be grateful that today you still have the opportunity to choose again. Believe that small steps taken with love and responsibility will gradually create a different life. Hold on to hope, not as the expectation of a miracle that will do all the work for you, but as the strength that helps you continue planting goodness before the results appear. I remain here, neither pressuring nor condemning you, and I will not abandon you when your steps are slow. Archangel Michael remains an image of protection and courage, reminding you to guard the good things being cultivated, but you must also choose to rise, take action, and live responsibly. Enter the days ahead with a calm mind, observant eyes, and a heart willing to learn. Love more deeply, forgive more fully, give thanks more sincerely, and continue correcting what lies within your ability to correct. You do not need to become an entirely different person overnight. You need only begin living in greater alignment with the values you know are good. Each day, choose one kind action, one healthy decision, and one responsible step forward. When you are tired, rest. When you are wrong, make amends. When you receive help, be grateful. When you are able, support someone else. And when anxiety returns to your heart, return to stillness. And remember that you do not have to prove that you are worthy of love. Move forward with gentle courage, carrying the faith that a good life is not built through the fear of missing out, but through love that is chosen faithfully, day after day. My beloved child, slow down for a moment, not because you are standing before a final opportunity, nor because I want you to fear that a door will close. If you do not pass through it quickly enough, I invite you to pause, because some things can only be recognized when your heart becomes quiet enough to listen. The coming days may become a turning point, but their meaning does not lie in a special number or a strict time limit. They will become precious if you use that time to examine the way you are living, recognize what needs to be released, and choose what deserves to be nurtured. A true turning point does not begin in panic. It begins when you stop running from the truth, stop postponing responsibility, and courageously respond to the goodness you have recognized for a long time. I am not saying that this invitation belongs to you alone in a way that excludes others. My love is not divided between a favored group and another group that has been forgotten. However, my words may touch each person differently, because no two people share exactly the same journey, wounds, abilities, and responsibilities. What is meant for you is the part you are invited to live fully, becoming more sincere, loving more deeply, and becoming more responsible with the gifts you already possess. You do not need to prove that you are more special than anyone else. The nobility of your calling is not found in standing above others, but in bending down to lift those who are weak, using your abilities to serve, and making the places you enter better, because you were there. I know there have been times when you felt that a source of ability existed within you that had not yet been fully used. You may be sensitive to the emotions of others, quick to notice what remains unspoken, or able to sense the atmosphere of a room as soon as you enter. Perhaps you possess the ability to encourage, create, lead, care for others, or recognize a direction that other people have not yet seen. But do not rush to attach these experiences to mystical explanations that draw you away from reality. Sensitivity may arise from many things: life experience, powers of observation, empathy, the way you learn, and the way you respond to your environment. Whatever its origin, what matters is not the impressive name you give it, but how you use it. If your sensitivity makes you kinder, more attentive, and more responsible in your actions, treasure it. If it leaves you easily exhausted, continually absorbing the emotions of others, or believing that you must solve every pain around you, then you need to learn how to establish boundaries. You have not been assigned the task of rescuing everyone, nor must you carry every burden in order to prove that you are loving. A caring heart still needs time to rest. One who serves still needs to receive care. You can be present for others without losing yourself, and you can show compassion without turning their problems entirely into your responsibility. Some people say that the hidden abilities of human beings lie within a secret area of the brain and need only a powerful spiritual moment to awaken them. I want you to receive such statements with discernment. The human brain is extraordinarily complex, and science continues to study many aspects of awareness, emotion, concentration, and religious experience. But you do not need to believe that most of your brain is completely asleep, nor do you need to seek a secret ritual to activate a special power. What you can know with certainty is that your abilities develop through learning, practice, rest, discipline, healthy support, and choices repeated each day. When you pray deeply, sit in silence, reflect, or practice gratitude, your mind may become calmer and more focused. This does not transform you into someone who possesses supernatural power, but it can help you recognize your emotions, thoughts, and values more clearly. When the noise fades, you gain the opportunity to hear questions that have been hidden. What am I living for? What is stealing my peace? Which responsibility am I avoiding? Is there someone I need to forgive? Is there a mistake I need to correct? These questions may not appear dramatic, but they have far greater power to transform your life than promises of a secret ability waiting to be unlocked. Imagine that there is a room within you that has not been used for a long time. That room does not contain a power that makes you superior to others. It contains qualities you have not sufficiently cared for: patience, concentration, the courage to tell the truth, discipline, creativity, compassion, and the determination to finish what you begin. The light in that room will not turn on by itself simply because you heard an inspiring message. You must enter, open the windows, wipe away the dust, organize what has become disordered, and use the room consistently. Light comes through action. Ability is developed through practice. Growth is proven by the way you live after powerful emotions have passed. Perhaps you once believed that what prevented you from fully living your calling was that you were not spiritual enough, had not received the correct sign, or had not discovered a special method. But often the obstacle is more ordinary. You are not sleeping enough, you are constantly tense, you have no clear plan, you fear failure, or you have become accustomed to postponing action because you want everything to be perfect. These limitations do not make you less valuable. They simply show you which areas require care. If you are tired, rest and examine the rhythm of your life. If you lack a skill, learn. If you are trapped in ongoing anxiety, seek trustworthy support. If you repeatedly begin and then give up, reduce the size of your goal and rebuild your habits, one step at a time. I do not condemn you for the parts of your life that remain dark. I only invite you to illuminate them with honesty. There are rooms you locked because they contain painful memories. There are dreams you are afraid to touch because you fear another disappointment. There are abilities you have hidden because others once mocked you. There are words spoken by other people that still echo within you, telling you that you are not good enough to begin. I do not want you to use one emotional moment to force open every door and overwhelm yourself. Enter each place gently. Look at what happened with compassion. Seek help when the wound is beyond what you can manage alone. Healing is not a competition, and you do not need to prove your strength by enduring everything without support. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, may be remembered by you as a symbol of courage and steadfastness. Michael does not come to give you a secret power, nor does he speak in my place words that place pressure upon you. His image reminds you to protect what is being built. Protect your time from distraction, your peace from meaningless arguments, your self-respect from unhealthy treatment, and your determination from the voice that wants you to surrender. Yet I remain the Father who walks directly with you, neither forcing nor rushing you, and never measuring my love for you according to how quickly you change. If you want to devote 3 days to beginning again, regard them as a period of practice rather than a test that determines your destiny. On the first day, you may simply observe without trying to correct everything. Pay attention to what causes you stress, which habits consume your time, and which thoughts repeatedly pull you downward. Do not condemn yourself for what you discover. Honest observation is the first step toward change. You cannot care for what you continually deny, nor can you adjust what you have never correctly named. On the following day, choose one specific thing to put in order. Do not burden yourself with too many goals. Begin with one small area of your life. Finish a task you have postponed, make time for genuine rest, contact the person to whom you need to apologize, or establish a boundary with something that is exhausting you. One clear action is worth more than many grand declarations. When you complete one small step, trust in yourself begins to be restored. You start to understand that you are not completely powerless before old patterns. On the third day, look a little further ahead and choose what you want to maintain. A change that lasts only a few days will struggle to create a new life. You need a rhythm that can continue after the original emotion has faded. Choose a habit suited to your strength and circumstances. A few minutes of silence each morning, a fixed period for learning, one honest conversation each week, or writing down what you are grateful for before going to sleep. Small but consistent practices will gradually illuminate the room within you more effectively than any promise of instant transformation. Do not believe that if 3 days pass and you have not changed completely, you have missed your opportunity. I do not abandon you on the 4th day. The door to correction remains open whenever you sincerely return. You may stumble, forget what you resolved to do, or fall back into an old habit. When that happens, do not turn one failure into a sentence against your entire journey. Examine what caused you to fall, adjust your plan, and begin again. Growth is not a straight line. Some days you make great progress. Some days you possess only enough strength to remain standing. And some days you must step backward to heal something that has been neglected. What I desire is not for you to become someone who is always living in intense emotional states. I want you to become steady on ordinary days. I want you to keep your word when no one reminds you. Remain kind when kindness is not returned. Stay patient when results come slowly, and accept responsibility instead of searching for someone to blame. Purpose is not revealed only in extraordinary moments. It is present in the way you raise your children, care for the elderly, work honestly, encourage someone in despair, and choose not to repay evil with evil. The greatest ability within you is not the power to make other people sense a mysterious frequency when you enter a room. It is the ability to create an atmosphere of safety through the way you listen, the way you show respect, and the way you refuse to use another person's weakness to elevate yourself. People can sense the presence of someone who is at peace, not because that person radiates an invisible power, but because they do not need to dominate the room, rush to judge, or cause others to become defensive. You can become such a person through practicing humility, self-control, and sincere love. Therefore, turn on the light within that inner room, but do so with understanding and patience. Do not chase promises that you will be instantly activated and transformed into a superior human being. Build your abilities through genuine work, genuine learning, and genuine care. Forgive those who caused you to doubt yourself, but do not allow them to continue determining your limitations. Forgive yourself for the years when you did not yet know how to use the gifts you possessed. What you failed to do yesterday can still be begun today, if you move through responsibility instead of regret. I invite you to courageously leave passivity behind, but not to enter into haste. Release self-condemnation, without avoiding the parts of yourself that need correction. Believe in your ability to grow without considering yourself superior to others. Nurture hope while keeping your feet firmly on the ground and carrying out the work that must be done. Every kind choice is a lamp being lit. Every time you keep your word, a dark corner is illuminated. Every sincere apology opens a door. Every time you rise after a mistake, a portion of your strength is restored, my beloved child. The turning point is not found in hearing a secret that most of the world has never known. It is found in what you decide to do with what you have understood. Return to peace and be grateful that you still have the opportunity to learn and change. Treasure the abilities I have given you by living a disciplined and loving life. Move forward courageously while remaining humble. Let your growth be seen not through declarations, but through the way you live better. Each day, I remain here every time you begin again. I do not count the days in order to close the door before you. I look at the sincerity with which you return. Therefore, rise without panic, walk without needing to prove yourself, and change without hating the person you once were. Peace will help you see clearly. Gratitude will guard you from pride. Forgiveness will free you from the past. And love will teach you to use every ability in a way that brings goodness to yourself and to those around you.